Hey family, it's me, Dr. Chris, and as you can see, I've got the beautiful Bay Bridge right behind me, and I'm here in San Francisco, California. And in today's episode of Dr. Chris TV, you're going to learn about how to transform self-critical thoughts using self-compassion. And the reason why this is so important is because sometimes our self-critical thoughts are preventing us from living the life we want, to have more success in our careers, education, and also relationships. Perhaps you've heard the word compassion said from time to time and asked yourself, what does that word even mean and how does it apply to my life? Now, the way I understand compassion means the ability and sensitivity to identify suffering in others and in ourselves and to engage with that suffering. Engage with that pain with the intention to alleviate it, using an understanding of where that source of suffering and pain is coming from, and also using kindness. The part of our mind and brain that's well developed for identifying threats in our environment tends to be a little too overly developed in this day and age. And we want to keep that part as well, but also develop the other parts of ourselves when it comes to compassion.
So right now I'm in Toronto, Canada, and as you can see, I've got the CN Tower and Rogers Centre right behind me, and I want us to turn our attention to understanding a little bit about personality development and how this relates to compassion and self-compassion. So our brains are built by our early relationships and our early environments, and we are literally shaped and molded by our families and life experiences and events at a time that we had no control over. Our upbringing and culture shape our values and how we perceive ourselves, others, and the world. And we may have also experienced tragedies, negative life experiences that have also shaped us, but we did not choose to experience those tragedies. And so it's our circumstances that decide which potential self is developed as we continue to evolve and adapt to our environment and how to meet the demands of those environments and the dangers surrounding it.
So right now I'm in Oakland, California, just hanging out here at Lake Temescal, and in our previous discussion we talked about how our early life experiences have a significant impact on shaping our fears, values, and our core beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world. And to illustrate this, I'm going to tell you a fictional story about a girl named Lisa. We're going to identify perhaps what her core beliefs about ourselves and others are and how they're related to self-critical thoughts. So at the age of 10, Lisa lost her mother. Her father found it extremely difficult to deal with the loss of his wife and would easily lose his temper and argue often and constantly with Lisa. During her high school years, she felt it difficult to concentrate and focus in school, and she also began developing her own anger issues as well. In her early adult life, Lisa wanted relationships, she wanted to, get close to people, but she felt it difficult to maintain those relationships because of her issues related to anger. Thinking about Lisa's early life experiences, how do you think those have shaped her core beliefs about herself and others, and how is this related to her self-critical thoughts? Perhaps some of her self-critical thoughts are, I'm not good enough, there's something wrong with me, and when I get close to people, they will eventually leave me. Now, in our next section, what we're going to do is identify one particular area in our lives where we may have self-critical thoughts, and we're going to learn how to transform those self-critical thoughts using self-compassion. Okay, hey everyone. I just did an amazing hike up Mission Peak here in Fremont, California, and we're going to begin exercise number 1, and this will help you identify how you typically react to yourself in a situation where you are a little more judgmental to yourself, a little more criticizing. And so I want you to ask yourself this one question. In what area of life do you typically find yourself being a little more self-critical, a little more judging of your own self? Is it in the area of appearance, relationships, career, parenting, or your athletic skills, whatever it may be, just identify that one area so that you can be specific and crystal clear where you may be finding yourself being a little more self-critical and a little more self-judging. Question number 2, what kind of language do you use with yourself when you notice a flaw or mistake related to that first area that you identified in question number 1? Do you take a more criticizing, condescending approach to yourself, or do you use more of a kind and understanding approach when you notice yourself making a mistake in life? Question number 3, if you're highly self-critical, how does that make you feel inside? Question number 4, what are the consequences of being hard on yourself? Does it make you feel more motivated, or does it make you feel more discouraged and depressed? So I'm still here at Lake Temescal in Oakland, California, and in the last section, you identified one area in your life where you engage in self-critical thoughts and thinking. And now, we're gonna transform and change the underlying emotion that's driving the self-critical thoughts and thinking using principles of self-compassion, using some mindfulness techniques, and using a modified emotion-focused technique that I've developed for this exercise. And so, I'm going to use an example of my life, and I invite you to participate through the exercise as I go through it with you. And it may seem a bit odd and strange at first, but I just want you to be open-minded to the experience. Just have no expectation about the outcome and just see what comes up for you.
Life where I find myself engaging in self-critical thoughts and thinking has to do with these videos that I make for Dr. Chris TV. You know, sometimes while I'm filming, editing, and posting these videos online, I do have self-critical thoughts such as these videos aren't good enough, people are going to find them boring, people are not going to gain any value from them and apply them to their lives, and that I even look silly on camera. Now, as you can see, these thoughts could possibly prevent me from doing something that I'm passionate about, that I love doing, providing value to other people in the world, helping others. And the first step in this entire process would be to identify underlying emotion that is driving the self-critical thoughts. Now, for the example I just shared with you right now related to my own life, I would say that anxiety is probably the underlying emotion that's driving these self-critical thoughts and thinking. Now, I wouldn't say that it's an overwhelming anxiety and like having a panic attack, but just enough that possibly could prevent me from something that I love doing in life, and that is providing value to others through Dr. Chris TV.
Now go ahead and identify the intensity level of the emotion that you're experiencing on the scale from 0 to 10. And now that you've done that, there's nothing for you to do besides just following along with me and just repeating the words that I'm saying as well. So first, put your hands over your heart like this, and you may close your eyes if you feel comfortable in doing so, and repeat the words after me. Even though I feel anxious, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel anxious, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel anxious, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs with air, holding it for a second, and release and let go. Take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs with air, hold for a second, and release and let go. One more time, take a deep breath in through your nose, holding it and releasing, let go. Now, bringing your attention back inwards, focusing on the intensity of the emotions. I was at a 3, and now I've noticed that my intensity level of the emotions are now at a 2. And I'm going to continue with this process. Once again, even though I feel anxious, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel anxious, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel anxious, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Once again, taking a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs with air, holding it for a second, then release and letting go. Once again, taking a deep breath in through your nose, releasing and letting go. And one more time, in through your nose, and releasing, letting go out into the universe. And just tuning in one more time, the intensity level of the emotion. And I've dropped the anxiety level from a 2 to 1. And I feel satisfied with where I'm at, and I'm going to conclude this process for me right now. So I'm back in San Francisco, and we just used the emotion freedom technique as a way to strengthen our capacities towards self-compassion. We also used it as a way to work with self-critical thinking and the underlying emotions that is driving the self-critical thoughts. Now, your intensity level of the emotion that you're working with may have been higher than mine. So I would just encourage you to continue the process over and over again until you get to a level where you feel comfortable. You may be wondering why this works to begin with, and so when you place your hands over your heart like this, through tactile sensations, you are sending a positive feedback loop from your body to your brain, communicating that you are approaching yourself with kindness and also self-soothing behaviors. Also, when we engaged in the deep breathing throughout the exercise, that's called diaphragmatic breathing. So you want to fill your stomach with air. And what that does, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is sometimes called the rest and digest system. It's kind of like pressing the reset button on your body. Self-compassion affects your physiology and your biochemistry for your ability to grow. You're internalizing a relationship with yourself of self-love, self-compassion, and self-acceptance. And also, you're stopping your nervous system from sending signals to itself that you're anxious, that you're angry with yourself, and that you're being threatened by an internal critical voice. Based on what we've been doing today, you are looking inward and inquiring about yourself using compassion, and also acknowledging that you're having a human experience with valid needs. This is really important because the truth is you're not broken, you're not flawed, and you are approaching yourself with curiosity and the intention to alleviate suffering because you know deep down inside that you are not bad. I now want you to answer this question in the comment section below. In what area of your life are you engaging in negative thoughts, self-critical thinking, and what are the associated emotions that are associated with those self-critical thoughts? Also, tell me how the emotion freedom technique has been for you and what has been helpful and what hasn't been helpful about that exercise. So, thank you, family. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you, family.